Honorable Gitonga Mukunji is Member of Parliament representing Manyata constituency, who as well is the chairperson of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. Also with us is Petrider Paul from the Board of Directors, Imara Leadership, all the way from Tanzania. And we also have Emily Achieng, the member of Mombasa County Assembly, CSC, Water and Natural Resources, and also Climate Change Resilience, former member of the Mombasa Youth Assembly here in Kenya. And finally, we'll have Honorable Seth Mwatale Kamanza, Speaker, the County Assembly of Kwale. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be beginning, but allow me to appreciate the presence of Dr. Muhammad bin Abdul Karim Al-Isa, the Secretary General of the Muslim World League from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Doctor, karibu Kenya. Thank you. So we proceed. We'll be having 30 minutes to prosecute this, short, precise answers and to the point, and then we'll open up the panel, hear from 3 persons at least, and then we'll be gender sensitive. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Allow me to begin with you, so this will be your microphone. Allow me to begin with you, Al-Hajj, from a religious perspective, basically, and this is the question. Is Kenya inclusive?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All protocols observed, as have been said before. My name is Hassan Olenado. I'm the National Chairperson of the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims. But I am also a veteran of youth movement. I've served in the youth movement for 2 decades. And most of the things that were discussed in the morning, I actually happened to have participated, including the National Youth Council in the beginning, and also when the ministry even was established, the Ministry of Youth Affairs. Just to go straight away to the question that is Kenya inclusive? Yes and no. Yes, because what we see today is a representation of inclusivity. But in the reality, back in the back of our minds, the reason why Kenyans agitated for the new constitution that included Article 10 of the Constitution that talks about inclusivity, talks about marginalized communities and many other things, is because we realized as a country that we are not inclusive. We know today, as we speak here, many young people still faces a lot of challenges on matters of citizenship. We also know that there are limitations in terms of sometimes in freedom of association and speech in this country. So I want to say it is yes and no. And what I think should be a matter of concern to all of us is then how do we ensure that the constitution that we gave to ourselves now responds and makes sure that it addresses all the matters that actually led to the establishment of that particular constitution. Because without addressing those matters, we still have a long way to go. And finally, on matters of resources, for example, in the country, the distribution of the national resources in this country is skewed to the areas that has traditionally agricultural areas against the areas that are semi-arid, and that is something to do with what was called the session paper number 10 of 1965 that classified areas where the government should actually do the investments. And when you look around in the country today, you can actually see certain areas that have no development. We thank God because of the devolution that certain areas of this country can for the first time see how the tarmac road look like. If there was no devolution, I don't know what we should have been talking about, because we have never, those areas could have never ever has the opportunity of seeing the development. And finally, again, is that we thank also God for the devolution, question because it was part of the the key of addressing the development imbalances to ensure that every particular area has an opportunity of exercising the authority or the leadership of their people at the very local unit. We just pray God that the question of corruption that is denying the development with the same people should be addressed, because there is no, in my culture from where I come from, we say that there is actually no hyena. You don't own an hyena. If somebody is an hyena, it's just an hyena. It cannot be our hyena. So I think we need to deal with the question of corruption.
All right. Honorable Gitonga Mukunji, being a member of the National Assembly and being there by virtue of getting the people's mandate from Manyata constituency, do you feel young voices such as yours across the country are included, or are they considered as being on board critical decision-making processes in this country?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. First, my name is Gitonga Mukunji, Member of Parliament, Manyata constituency, and Chair, Kenya Young Members of Parliament. I'm normally referred to form Nikujituma. And I believe we have a lot to work on to have the youth voice included in key decision making, and there is a lot of work to be done for the voice of youth to matter in this country, simply because it has actually been submerged, because we had platforms where youths were able to air their views before. And if we go back in history, you'll find that if you go back to the time of actually getting our independence, the youth of that time were the ones who were championing for the change. When we come back to issues to do with the second liberation, that is multi-party democracy, the people we actually applaud today that brought that change were actually the youth. But these days, there has been a few changes that have brought the mattering of the youth's voice down. And I'll give you an example of even in the political parties that we are in, the vibrancy of the young is never felt. And there is one person that told me that the test of being loyal to a political party these days as a young person is how much you can endure the suffering in that political party. There is a need to look at channels that we can be able to give youths a voice and ensure that it matters. And one of the things is to ensure we have vibrant party structures that respect the young part of the party. Number two, we need to ensure that our universities that had very vibrant student leadership that actually made some of us to be where we are here today, it is back to that vibrancy, because we introduced a law that made sure that you have to be in line with what is being told by the university leadership for you to get there. Number three, even in the government, we have all manners of advisors, but we don't have a youth advisor for the head of state in the government. And those are things that we can ensure our voices as young people are heard. But at the same time, it is the reason why you have seen a serious uproar and people coming to the streets. It is the reason, because the voices were not heard when they were actually supposed to be heard.
Okay.
And the only solution was actually for the youths to get to the streets so that they can be heard. And I believe we need to actually do a paradigm shift for that matter.
And are you then heard, if you were to put this question to the deputy president, who is your deputy party leader, who has described Kenya as a shareholding company and not a secular state, would you put that to him and tell him that we are governed by the rule of law and not the description he gave that Kenya is a shareholding entity?
Well, let me first say that without fear of any contradiction, that I don't subscribe to Kenya being a shareholding entity. And I believe even the constitution that we have today, Article 232, on issues to do with public service, it is very clear on regional balancing and representation of every part of this country, and including even Article 10. Shareholding part is actually some sort of a statement that is meant to lure your tribesmen, to lure your regional mates, to support just for a few to benefit. And I believe it is what the youth of this country have come out clearly to say no to. We need to have any person from anywhere getting an opportunity to get anywhere in government through merit, but not through shareholding.
Thank you.
And while I will try to understand where anybody saying issue to do with shareholding is coming from, because I believe also when you form a government, you need to ensure you form a government with people that trust your ideologies. But that is why we need to encourage political parties to also be national, not regional, so that when you form a government that has everybody as part of it, and everybody is getting an opportunity. Today, the public service is actually skewed. You look at almost 30 tribes share less than 10% in the public service of this country. The rest, just a few, have the bigger badge of it, and that is something that we need to correct.
Okay, hold that thought. Petrider Paul, from Tanzania, what's the perspective? Are the Tanzanian youth's voices being heard? And are they included in critical decision-making processes in Tanzania? Yes, you can still use that number. Put it on here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. So ideally, first of all, Excellencies, Honorables, and all guests, protocols are observed. I think the fact that I come from the United Republic of Tanzania brings us at crossroads, because we are actually, I wouldn't say too peaceful, but we are actually a peaceful country in real sense, in a sense that we don't know what is tribalism, or we don't know what is conflict because of the governance structure of a country. But ideally, I think there are elements that synergize amongst East Africa, and we do actually have similar interests and similar issues of concerns, because young people, being a young person myself, are still not included. And this is the cry of most young people. But the fact is, I think are the young people that we are calling to be included, are they capable enough, or can they really meet that demand? That's one question that I think we can all think about. But I think something that Honorable Sakaja mentioned earlier is the fact that young people are an opportunity but are not utilized, which is indeed true. But the issue comes to account that we have a lot of young leaders in different high-level positions, and some not in some countries, but they're not really serving the interest of young people at the end. So it comes to the point where I think Honorable Kitonga also mentioned that what is the interest of the young people that we want to lead. So it's not more of how are we pushing the button for young people, but how are we capacitating them. And I think that's why we are also here today in this intergenerational dialogue, to see how can we learn from the concepts of Al-Hajj that he mentioned, of issues of corruption, or the concepts of from our other senior leaders. We do have elements of intergenerational dialogue, but there's no room for a lot of young people to be part of the processes. We want young people to be able to learn from our senior leaders, seasoned leaders. How can we match young people with ambassadors or presidents? I think in Africa we've seen 3 youth presidential advisors for several countries, that is in Uganda, in the Republic of Namibia, but also in Ghana. But those are actually just a pinch of salt in real sense. So in real sense, even when it comes to my country context, Yeah, we do have young people, we do have young leaders, but there's no platform or room for them to be counted in that sense. And I think it's a cry for majority of young people and our leaders that are with us today. Please let the young people actually be part of the decision-making processes. Yes, we do see young people being a bit of troublesome at some point, but they can actually lead if they are capacitated. They just need that opportunity and that element to actually be able to be informed the same way our senior leaders are informed.
All right. Emily, I'll come to you, Speaker. Do you feel included, given that there are not as many young Kenyans who are serving in a portfolio, say the one that you hold at the moment across the county assemblies, if we are to do a head count? Do you think we have reached the threshold? You can put it on. Yeah, put it on.
Thank you, Ayub. I think standing on the protocols observed since morning, good afternoon. My name is Emily Achieng Okello, Minister in charge of water, natural resources, and climate change resilience in Mombasa County. But I also had the privilege of serving as the clerk for the Mombasa Youth Assembly, and it's a proud moment for me here today to reflect on the journey and chart on a way forward with this esteemed panel. I think, Ayub, it's a general feeling that we still have a lot to do in terms of youth inclusion in decision-making spaces. And for this, first I would like to appreciate my Governor, His Excellency Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir. He's actually on record saying that he did not know me in person. I applied for the position, I went for the interview, and the panel approved me for this position, and he gave me. I think this is the trend that we want to see in terms of the opportunities that are availed for the young people, so that you do not need to know someone. If you merited the position, you will get it. But it is also for leaders to go an extra mile to do affirmative action so that you build the capacity, because you don't expect youth from nowhere to just be able to sit in certain positions without the experience and the knowledge and the mentorship that comes with it. Some of us were lucky to have grown through the platforms like Mombasa Youth Assembly and other platforms that were mentoring young leaders. And I think if we give opportunities to youth through the availed structures by national government, through the invented spaces from the youth themselves, we will be able to get a pool that can serve in any platform. I think one of the things that we are also celebrating that is coming from the Gen Z movement is that for the first time we have a CS who's 32-year-old. I think starting this government, we would not have imagined that in between we'll have a CS that is 32-year-old. So we want to support his term in office, and we look forward to having him as a model for all of us that we are able to lead in such places. Thank you.
All right. Speaker Kamanza, I do understand you tried your luck at the ballot and lost, but finally you're leading the House, the Assembly of Kwale County. How has it been? Does it feel, or do you feel included? Because we have no as many speakers of your age across, if we are to do 1 to 3 of the 47 counties. But beyond the ballot, is there any other inclusive mechanism and pathway to which young voices can be brought on board?
Good afternoon, everyone. With all protocol observed, my name is Seth Motela Kamanza. I am the Speaker, Kwale County Assembly, and I'm proud to say that I want to thank the Oslo Center for giving Kwale an opportunity for many youths to be on this platform. And on this behalf, I want to say that we have witnessed many youths from this program having different positions in the Kwale County government. I want to say something that 2017, I gave my first shot to the political scenes. And the challenge is that us as youth, we become an enemy of our own. We don't support, because in Swahili we say, give me two. Loosely translated in English, we say give me two. Until you give some youth something, it's when he or she can support you. And I think us as youth today, we need to remove that from our platform. And as earlier speakers had said, let's not be used during election processes. Let's own the election processes by us first taking our vote, then ensure that all of us are voters and we vote at the end of the process. Therefore, what I want to say is that when I started the process of elective position in 2017, many people took me very unserious, and they thought I, as youth with a small body, where are you going to take this leadership position? And I think I did not give up. I persisted, and until 2022, I tried again. In 2017, I was third. 2022, I was fourth again. But 2022 was a game changer because I saw an opportunity that many youths probably had not seen, which is the speakership. And when I applied, I talked to the MCAs, and they really got the concept that I had for them, for the assembly. And they gave me this opportunity. And with this opportunity, we have engaged many youths so that they can come on board in leadership position. The problem with us in leadership is that we become a bit fearful when we mentor others. Okay. And I want to take this to the people that are in leadership. Let's not be afraid of mentoring other people, because one day we shall die, and we need good leadership in this country. And until we pick the youths of this country and show them the way that there is leadership with selflessness, it's when we will start seeing development progress in this country.
Okay, so it took you time to convince the members to
Yes, it took me time, and more so the youths. Because you find that as a youth, when you go for this elective position, you don't have resources. And many youths, they need for you to give them something so that they can vote you in. Therefore, I want to tell my fellow youths, when we see a youth is going for an elective position, let's support that youth. And I can assure you, a youth has more to lose than a person who has been in a position for many years. Because this youth, once he's given the position, he has to learn the process, number one, and he has to learn the tricks in this youthful. Therefore, I'm not setting aside the older leadership. We need it in this country, because it is the only way that we shall be shown how to do things, because they are more experienced. But however, we need the older generation to pick us as youth and ensure they mentor us to be good leaders. Thank you.
So, a round of applause for them. Since we are very much pressed for time again, so I'll this time around start this side. One question, and one question. 3 questions, to the point, be precise, and to who? Yes, the lady here, please. Just use the microphone on the... Yes, yeah.
My name is Lara Koth, and my question is, you see we are on an uneven playing field where you find there are some youths who are very much exposed with education, and now they can, like for example, the theme for this year was from clicks to progress. But we still have people who don't have internet, who don't have computers, who are not even educated. And you find when they're going for a movement, some people will be asking, why are these people going for mandamanos while us we're still at home? Because they do not understand why they are fighting for these things. So my question is, how then do we call on these youths to be on maybe not necessarily the same playing field, but walk hand in hand in a bid of understanding one another? So it's not an issue that they don't know why these other people are there.
Okay.
They are in one united front.
Thank you. Hassan Olenado, Alhaji, you'll be responding to that. And Honorable Gitonga. Yes, I had a lady there, so let me take the gentleman here. Yes, please. You can use the microphone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry. Actually, mine is not a question. And once again, I'd like to say sorry because it was an opportunity to ask a question. But I have two concerns that I think this is the only time that I'll be having that opportunity. Otherwise, the next keynote speakers, it is high level, and I want to get that opportunity. So, kunradhi sana. My two concerns. One is the issue of youth. Actually, I've been noting down the word youth has been mentioned 1,002 times. And the word Gen Z has been mentioned 928. And my concern is the Gen Z part of it. So the Gen Z part of it, as a youth, also a Gen Z, and as a forum for the Gen Z, I will wish, and this is a kind request, I'm really sorry, this is a kind request. We've experienced, we've seen a youth-led demonstration across the country and other parts of Africa, in Sudan, Nigeria, South Africa, and the youths have lost their lives. So I'm kindly requesting for just one minute moment of silence for the fallen soldiers of the youth. So I'm kindly requesting, if you may.
Okay, I'll instruct that. No, I can assure you, guaranteed.
One last, the second, I had two, sorry.
We are present. Yes, please summarize it here.
As a continent and as a country, Kenya, we have a candidate for the African Union chairman. That's our Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. He's not with us here, but I also wish, and I'm kindly requesting. I know we are not in capacity to vote, but we can do something very impactful, and that's prayers. So please, let us remember.
Thank you.
Let us remember Raila.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
So let me take the lady over there. Yes, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Ayub. My name is Suhaila Abdul Faraj.
Yes, please be audible.
Okay. Thank you, Ayub. My name is Suhaila Abdul Faraj. I'm from the Lamu Youth Assembly. I'm the Attorney General there. Mine is not a question, but really a comment. I feel like the fact that we have the leaders in the room, I would like to say, Ayub, that inclusivity of the youth has to take a multifaceted approach, because most of the panelists there, their concern is the elected youth or youth being given positions of power. I would like to state that it will take more than positions of power to really get to that progress that we want for the youth. In essence, not all of us can be in positions of leadership. Not all of us can be in the government. So what we want as young people is, how do we find that point of intersection where the youth are not only, they don't say that we've given you two positions, we've given you a seat at the table. No, we want it to be in a way that encompasses every aspect, in the sense that we have youths who are elected, youths who are nominated, and those who have no positions, those who are merely citizens, they should also have a form, or rather a policy or a way of engaging them. So whenever we talk of inclusivity, let's not close ourselves to leadership. It should be multifaceted and intersectional. Thank you.
Speaker, that will be your response. A question, please. Yes. Umejitetea sana. Yeah, yes, please. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, one person shouldn't speak for you. You can use the microphones.
My name is Joyce Mugure. I am supporting Marianne Memori from the United Persons with Disabilities. First, I really hope persons with disabilities are represented in this particular panel on inclusivity. Yeah. I would like a confirmation on that. We cannot have inclusivity without persons with disabilities. Yeah. Secondly, when it comes to political participation, persons with disabilities are normally nominated by their political parties. Positions, but nothing much is done to empower them to vie for political seats. and so they settle for being nominated rather than seek elective positions. This circle continues even to young persons with disabilities who have passion for politics, and this isn't sustainable because they have limited power when they are nominated and their decisions are highly influenced by their nominees.
So your question is on...
Are there empowerment
Okay, to just understand you clearly, because of time, the inclusion of persons with disability.
Yes, and are there empowerment strategies by political parties that seek to address this issue?
Thank you.
And how can we do this?
Thank you, and we'll be responding to that.
Thank you.
So Alhaji, let's start with you. On the questions, please,
The first question was actually not clear.
The first question from the lady there.
Back off. I was not clear, so I could not really... I don't want to get lost because I really wanted to respond to a question.
How about the second one?
The second one, about the positions in power and other things.
Yes.
And I want to agree with Leila that it's not every other young person who can actually be in a political leadership or political positions. But what matters in a country is the policies and legal regime that will be favorable for people, even to create jobs and opportunities for themselves outside the leadership. We have made politics as the only thing available for the change of life or of the change of how we deal with issues in our country. And that has become very difficult because today, every young person is dreaming of being elected to a certain office so that he can actually transform his own life and the life of his people. And I think what we need to do as a country is we need to work on the systems that will enable even those of us who may not be interested in leadership, in political leadership, to serve and to contribute to our societies without being elected.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Gitonga.
Thank you. I think I'll try to respond to the first question.
Yes, briefly.
And if I got my sister right, he was asking about resources in some places, such as internet, are not available. And I believe that is a matter of ensuring that we continue investing to ensure every part of Kenya is able to be put in the same table, but also it also says the importance of the current day and age internet issues. And let me say that when the finance bill was coming to the floor of the House, many members received a lot of text messages on WhatsApp and other places. And it was about reject finance bill. I took time, because I received over 10,000 messages, to sample and listen to what is this computer-generated messages or something, because there were so many. But when I tried to reach, I found these are real people. They're actually very serious on what they're saying. I sat down and thought it's important even to go ahead and do a live on Facebook to get to understand what people are really saying. I will tell you, when the drop of some of the clauses was done in the finance bill, and that is the time I was doing the live, I realized that people are not even convinced that this finance bill is better. And that is the main reason, as a person who is in the ruling party, I voted no.
Okay.
Because I realized, even after looking keenly to see even 3 people who can say, go and represent with a yes, there was none. And that tells us we really need to invest and ensure we do the connectivity all over the country, so that people can air their voices.
Thank you.
The young people can be able to actually get their voices heard.
Asante.
The TikTok we have seen rallying people to go to maandamanos tells you this is a new age. This is a new era. Even campaigns are going to change in 2027.
Okay.
I believe we might have a president elected from TikTok.
Thank you.
In 2027.
Yes, Speaker. Very brief. Thank you.
As I answer the question...
The multifaceted approach,
Yes. And I think my sister, the AG, She didn't have much of a question, but a comment which I want to add on to that. I want to say one thing, that it is the right time right now to remove things like experience in job when people are searching for jobs, because you find that there is a youth who has been out of a university for the last 5 years, does not have a platform to showcase the kind of experience that that person has. I think we need to move away from giving experiences on certain job groups and giving them, us as youth, an opportunity so that they can showcase what they have. Another thing is that us as youth also, we need to have the persistence. We need to have, know that when you fail, you go back. When you fail, you move forward. That way, we will have an opportunity, because when you don't do anything, it means nothing will come to your door. In law, we say, the law does not assist you. You only have to invoke your rights. Therefore, this is the new world order in Kenya, that right now we need to wake up and ensure that all these rights as youths, we go for them. Therefore, my fellow youths, I encourage all of us, because right now we have the opportunity, and I think our country is heading in the right direction on the youth voice that we are currently having.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Waziri, and you'll double up with Petrider, will also respond to the same question, and briefly because of time. Inclusion of persons with disability.
Thank you, Ayub. I think first we look at the context of our democracy, and you realize that certain institutions have been given powers to distribute resources in the country. And I think that is why, as youth, we try and be in those institutions so that we can ensure even the youths that are in business, they are in other platforms, can get the necessary resources. Number two is on the issue of inclusion of people with disability. I had thought Mheshimiwa would pick it from political parties aspect, but we need to start somewhere. And where we are starting at is the point of affirmative actions, that the parties have taken a route of nominating members with special abilities. But as we know, a lot needs to be done to give the confidence to voters that everyone can be on the same platform. We know that our elections have certain barriers to specific groups, that reviewing the structure of elections and the processes would give women, youth, and people with special abilities the opportunity to increase their numbers in terms of representation in parliament. For the Mombasa Youth Assembly, I think we've set the pace. We had our second speaker, a person with special ability. We've had several members who are elected from the ward level. And this is one way of showing the world that equal opportunities would give us the same results. So we want to urge the parties as we are reviewing the structures, as we are planning for 2027, because I think 2027 election is going to be a test for the youth, now that we already have set some standards in terms of what had happened with Gen Z, but the outcome has not really reflected what the youth were talking about. So we are all being asked that we use our voters' card to give the change at the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Petrider, briefly.
Thank you so much. So ideally, I'll respond to the people with disability, but also the digital divide question the lady had also asked. So it's quite a challenge, to be honest, and what she presented is quite evident. We are still lagging behind when it comes to inclusion, especially for people with disabilities or people who have access to internet or smartphones. All of us in this room here, we are privileged. We have access to smartphones. We have good hearing systems. We're just privileged. privilege in the real sense, but we really need to focus more on how do we reach the furthest, the most, those at grassroots level, in terms of building their capacities to access certain services, having the provision of services offered to them, but also how do we have others even have access to internet, which doubles up for those with disabilities. I remember I had, before the smartphone stages of life, I had to actually go to internet cafes to do my work, but this also requires payment. You pay a small amount of money, but not all can afford. So I think as stakeholders, as institutions, we need to really galvanize effort on that. And also as honorable members of parliament, I think this is an area that you might also need to look into, so as we increase effort on those particular elements. That's all.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, much appreciated. A round of applause for them. So the next panel will be high level, so I'll be calling on the technical team to be here. Thank you so much. Emilia Chieng, Petrider Paul, Alhaji Olenado, Mheshimiwa Gitonga, and Speaker Kamanzi. Thank you so much. Much appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. So the technical team will be here. We'll be getting the seats off the stage because we'll be having our next panel that will be coming on stage before I call them in the order in which they're going to be assuming their seats. Few announcements. All the delegates, of course, you are the delegates here. We have sent a link of the photos you can download, so you can check your phones. There's a link that has been sent by the team. Phoebe, is it WhatsApp or SMS? SMS. So have you gotten anyone? Mepata? So there's no digital divide here. Certainly not. So thank you so much. Keep the conversation ongoing. The hashtag on the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, where this conversation is live streaming. And we thank you for your patience since morning here. That is not taken for granted. Your company is valuable. And shortly I'll be making announcements in effect